Hey there, new friend. We are so glad you found Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast for women over 50. What started as a passion project has grown into a beautiful and supportive community, and we couldn't be more grateful. Would you like to help us cover the cost of producing and growing this amazing sisterhood? When you join our Uncluttered and Unfiltered bonus club on Patreon for just $5 a month, you'll have early bird access to commercial-free video versions of our episodes, plus plenty of bonus content and some other surprises along the way. Check our show notes for a link to our Patreon and to our always free ladies-only private Facebook group. And thank you for being here.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Looking to make a positive change? Sober October is the perfect time to be more mindful about your alcohol consumption. Whether you're aiming to cut back or take a complete break, October offers a great opportunity to experience the benefits like improved sleep, reduced stress, and a boost to your mental health. Join Hearts for Minds and discover a world of delicious non-alcoholic options with a free ebook, Mocktails with Meaning, featuring curated recipes from expert mixologists to help you celebrate mindfully. It's easy to incorporate non-alcoholic drinks into your social life and enjoy the same flavors and fun without the alcohol. So this October, raise a glass to your well-being. Join the movement, support Hearts for Minds, and discover the joy of mindful drinking. Check out the free ebook at heartsforminds.org and in our show notes.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back, with nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome everybody to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. We are the podcast for women over 50. I'm Eden.
And I'm Christine.
And we came across a little article that says women over 50 are happier than women in their 20s. According to this study, women 50 to 65 are happier with their age, their relationships, and their confidence, more so than women in their 20s. So today's episode is about finding the fun, whether the fun is in a night out, in a trip you take, whether it's binge watching a show and chatting about it with your girlfriends like we're about to do in a little bit. But whatever the case may be, that's like a clever way of us saying this episode's going all over the place.
Right.
And we wanted to make a topic.
Right.
So there's your topic.
Yep.
Finding the fun. So let's talk about some fun. Most recently, the fun I had was my husband and I went to a concert this weekend, and I reached out to you. Actually, you and I were to get together on Saturday, and I told you this concert that I went to was prime hunting ground for new recruits to be listeners of our podcast. And you said, what was the concert? And I said, Hootie and the Blowfish. Not something we normally think about when we're thinking about our demographic, but it was 30 years ago.
Okay.
When the CD Cracked Rear View by Hootie and the Blowfish came out and exploded. So if those women that were 20 at the time are turning 50 this year, it was like a recruitment meeting for I wanted to go. I was wishing I had like our business cards. I could walk up to all these women that were clearly new to being 50 and say, hey, now that you're on this side of it, come on over. But that is how I felt. I was like looking around going, wow, you don't think about Hootie fans being in their 50s, but.
So I'm going to KC and the Sunshine Band in a couple weeks. What demographic is that?
I'm
100?
You're going to see. Yeah, basic comparatively.
They were my grad night, 1980 in Orlando at Disney World. They played at our grad night when they were popular and he had hair. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, see, that's a good time. Sometimes it's about going to see those artists that were popular back then. Although I will say that Harry Wayne Casey, who is the lead of Casey and the Sunshine Band, I see a lot of videos of him. He is absolutely still enjoying himself.
Yes.
He does not look the same
At all. But his voice is the same.
His voice is phenomenal.
His voice is great.
He does the soft choreo, which means he's doing the little dance steps.
Yeah, he's trying.
Now, unlike Frankie Valli, have you seen any of these videos?
I can't unsee them either. You don't understand. I am a huge Frankie Valli fan. His Can't Take My Eyes Off You was my wedding song. So I am a huge... I can't take it. I feel like, where are his children?
Who's stopping this? If you don't know what we're talking about, it's gone really viral over the last year, but just this weekend, for some reason, it went crazy.
Yeah.
Where Frankie Valli, who has to be in his 90s.
He's in his 90s.
He travels with some guys that call themselves the Four Seasons, and they're all in their 20s and 30s. And
so they're not, but
they're
anyway.
singing their hearts out and they're doing all the moves. And then his stuff is all lip sync.
Yeah.
And he barely can even move the lips to keep up with the song. And it's almost, this is so disrespectful, and I apologize. It's almost a Weekend at Bernie's kind of situation.
I think they wheeled him out and just set him up.
And he stands there, and I want to know,
where are his kids? He has children.
Whose idea is this? Is he in debt?
That's true.
Why?
That's the only thing I could think of, is that he's in debt and they have to still play. But I saw him for like the fourth time a few years ago, and he already was already really lip syncing totally. And that was like 4 or 5. That was pre-COVID. So that was at least 5 years ago. So I can't imagine that it's going to ever get any better. And he's coming here in the spring. And I just was like, oh, I want to go be like, don't do it. Just don't do it.
I just feel awful every time I see those videos. But this is the episode about having fun. So let's change the subject and talk about some travel that you and I have both done recently.
We'll start with you, because you went to another country.
I went to Australia, where I thought I would feel so removed and distant and scared and uncomfortable just being so far away from home. But with today's technology and the willingness, as we've discussed, of my adult kids being willing to still ask me any single question, no matter what time of the day it is, that
or
pops
country.
to mind, or country I'm in. Because of technology, I did not feel removed at all. I could have conversations with people if the time zones matched. It wasn't like
how was the jet lag?
The jet lag is real, and it's mostly on this side of it when we came home.
When you come back,
14-hour difference, so that was real. The flight wasn't so terrible. I didn't mind that at all. It was in the middle of the night on the way there, so that was not a problem. But here's the story that I've been saving for you. Sit down if you're not sitting. You have done a fabulous job of getting me organized. We talked about being very simple in what I pack in my briefcase for work every day, my laptop bag. I don't overdo it with the pockets. I've been living my life the way you say. But I did not heed your advice on my travel bag. And at the last minute, I switched from a big tote to a backpack with pockets. It was time for us to get off the plane from Sydney, Australia, and get on the plane to go to LAX. I mean, in LAX to go to Atlanta. We're in the airport in California, and it's time to go through customs, and then you get your suitcase and find my passport. It was gone, and this did not resolve itself. I lost it. I lost my passport between Sydney and California. So these people at the airport that were coming off as extremely helpful said, come with us. We'll bring you to this little office. They'll take care of it. Listen, you're a U.S. citizen. There's nothing to keep you from traveling to your next destination. Don't worry. Just come with us to this office.
Wait, do you see my facial expression right now?
Yeah, it was this is a horrifying story. So I get into this little office and they say, oh, by the way, you have to turn your phone off when you walk into this office. I'm like, okay, cool.
This is reminding me of Locked Up Abroad.
This is what it was almost like. So my husband is going off to get our suitcases. He's gone through customs already. And I'm in this little office. The minute I turn my phone off and they shut that door and the customer service person leaves, I'm in a serious interrogation room where they're yelling at some man, why do you want to go to Phoenix? Who's in Phoenix? And I'm sitting there waiting and I'm like, oh my gosh, my flight's going to leave soon. I don't know what time it is. I don't know. I can't pull my phone out to see. I didn't have my watch on. I don't know anything that's going on. So I walk up to the 3 guards at the door and I said, excuse me, I think there might be a mistake. I'm here to just confirm that my driver's license is valid. Ma'am, you are in the interrogation room. Can I step out for a minute and text my husband so he knows where I am? No, ma'am, you cannot leave this room until you are cleared to be in this country. You are here without a passport. It was like they had no idea who brought me into this room.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm immediately guilty of something in this room. I was in there for about 10 minutes. I was crying. It was so scary.
I would be crying for sure.
It was really scary. It was really scary.
You were like, I want a lawyer. And they're like, you just lost your passport.
Yeah.
You don't need a lawyer.
But they made me feel like I needed a lawyer. They were not very nice about it, as you can well imagine. And I get that they're protecting the security of the country.
Right.
But the minute you walk in that room and that door shuts, you are public enemy number 1 until proven otherwise. And it was scary.
So where's your passport?
I've now reported it as lost. They couldn't find it. We went back on the same plane. So they were looking for it on the plane the whole time. The flight attendants were so nice. They were helping us at Delta. And I've reached out to Australian Border Patrol and the Sydney airport, and it's just gone. It's in oblivion. I was looking inside the lining of the backpack. I don't know how it happened. I had it to get on the plane.
Oh my gosh.
So
your husband must have been like, have we learned nothing?
He was, until I started crying, he was not happy.
Yeah.
Then he was on my team after that because he's like, it happens. But he's like, what? I told you to. I'm like, from now on, you're in charge of the passport. Simple solve there.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. He needs to be the carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a little, I guess, a fallback to my old ways. It just goes to show you were right. If you have too many pockets, you don't know where you're putting things. You can't easily access them. You don't know that you still have them. So it was a bit of a nightmare. But the trip itself was phenomenal.
And how did you do in the race?
Oh, the marathon was fantastic.
The marathon.
I felt really good the whole time. It was very hilly and very difficult. The thing that happened of note for me at the very end, when you're finishing, you look up and there's the Sydney Opera House in front of you. And I was so intent to capture that and not look away, not look at my watch, not miss this experience, that I tripped over my feet and went flying in slow motion forward and landed on my elbows, which are still sore and bruised. And I'll say this, you don't know how much you use your elbows until both elbows are bruised and sore, from the armrest on the plane to the glove box in your car. Just now, I just crashed my elbow into this table. I feel like I'm all elbows.
Your life sounds like a rom-com.
I'm a rom-com. I'm elbow lady now because everything's elbows. But that's my trip. There's so much more to it. And if anybody is ever going to Australia,
did you get to see koala bears?
I did see a koala bear. I saw lots of kangaroos. And I even got to meet up with a friend that I only knew online.
Oh, nice.
So she gave us a tour of her suburb, which is a nice little area in Sydney on the beach called Bondi Beach. It was fantastic. It was really, really
I've only heard amazing things about Australia.
It's just great.
It's just wonderful things.
And you had a trip too. You were in Nashville.
I was in Nashville visiting my grandson and my daughter. And I have to tell you, I don't know about anyone else, but travel has just gotten so ridiculously difficult. Just getting to the airport, they had closed down all daily parking, which that's what I always do. I just go and leave my car. And then when I get back, they closed it.
Yeah.
And now everyone and their brother is trying to find a place to park. Mm-hmm. And I had to go park out in the middle of a field, get on a bus that had no air conditioning in Florida. And I'm just like, even something so simple like a little 45-minute nonstop flight, it's just always there's something on the way.
You like to be home.
I like to be home. So I have to really, I don't know if anyone else out there is like this. I have to really psych myself up when I travel. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's a fascinating country, a beautiful vineyard. I love all that, but I have to psych myself up because travel just makes me crazy. It makes me anxious. I always feel like, what if I get bed bugs?
Imagine if you traveled with me, you'd be a mess.
Oh my gosh.
You'd be like, how am I going to handle me and her?
Oh, I'd probably get arrested because I'd be knocking on that door. Let her out. What are you doing with her? And they'd arrest me and you'd be like, where'd she go? And it'd be like Lucy and Ethel on a vacation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know. I go with the flow, but I feel like post-COVID travel is very difficult.
We're going to talk about being a homebody and some of the things we watched and binge, etc. But we still have a few more things we want to take care of. First of all, do you think you would have enjoyed your travels a little better if you had been drinking again? Let's talk about your new resolve.
Well,
it's already over.
It's already over. But so I decided, and this is only about dehydration, wrinkles, how you look the next day after, because when I was younger, even in my 40s, even in my 50s, I'm going to say, it didn't really affect me. Yeah, I would need some extra water. No, I'm saying appearance wise. Okay. So I decided for, I would say 3 to 4 weeks, I'm just not going to drink anything and see what happens with the wrinkles and the skin, and just really drink a lot of water. And I know you're probably all out there going, no duh, but you know what? I really wanted to see, looking in the mirror, and not after day 1 or day 2 or day 3, a week, then 2 weeks. I have to tell you, there is something to be said about that. Honestly, I can't tell you how the circles under my eyes disappeared when you drink. And I don't drink more than 2 drinks, even when I am drinking any kind of wine, alcohol. I'm just not
out somewhere.
No, I just have that kind of ended after my 40s. It was just like, I'm not really interested in more than 2. But I have to tell you what a difference.
Really?
Huge difference, to the point where it wasn't about drinking it. It was about what is it besides the dehydration? I feel there's more to it. I think it's the way you sleep after you've been drinking. And so everything pools differently, underneath your eyes. I think your wrinkles are definitely accentuated. No doubt about it. Even in my neck, it was from the neck up, my hands felt really dehydrated. So it was a test I did. And I think I might stick with it somewhat.
Moderation is the key. And there certainly is a movement now towards being sober, or
younger people are not as into drinking as we were back in the day.
And by the way, you never need an excuse. You should never ask somebody why, if they would.
Oh, I agree.
These are not things. Some people don't drink because they are very happily sober now, after having battled to get there. Other people are doing it just because they realize that they feel better and look better. And whatever your reason is, we support that. And I think that a lot of the times that I might have a glass of wine lately, I just don't.
Right.
I've been really, in fact, I'll do a little plug here.
Yeah. I've been drinking that too.
I'm holding this up for the camera. If you're Patreon, by the way, we haven't mentioned this, but if you are on Patreon, our bonus club, these are all videos for you. Otherwise it's audio. But I've been drinking Pellegrino water lately, or Perrier, either one, the bottle of water.
That's what I've been drinking
because
too.
My friend Amy was telling me that you're hydrating just as much when you're drinking the bubbly water. And I'm like, let's just do that, because that feels fancy.
I have been doing the same. And I also think one thing I noticed, being over 60, I slept better.
From the not drinking.
Yeah, because I feel like my hot flashes do get worse if I drink. And so I slept a lot better than if I had a glass of wine. Or I wholeheartedly think that as you age, it's just not as fun or attractive as when you once did it. There's something about older people drinking too. It's just, I don't know. It's a younger person's game.
It's a young person's game. There are a couple of things that we love to talk about binge-wise. One is whatever shows, we like to vary it and say, okay, what show are you watching now? What show am I watching now? And then, of course, there's the Golden Bachelorette. So we're going to reserve the last 10 minutes of this episode for that, just so you can get out in time if you're like trying to avoid it. But I'm telling you, before we even get to it, don't avoid it. It's just fun to have this to look at together. But before we get to that, Hacks is a TV show that you and I both watch. You're further ahead than I am. I haven't started the 3rd season yet. This is the Jean Smart show. It just won an Emmy, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, where she is an aging comedian who really doesn't have any other recourse than to bring on a writer. And then the young writer that she brings on is someone who has just been canceled because of some of her jokes. And together they forge this unlikely bond. So that's the synopsis of it. It's phenomenal.
It is the best show I've seen in a really long time. And you had told me to watch it. And then I was at my daughter's and she's, really think you would like this. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch 1 or 2. That was it. And then I went into the whole binging thing once I got home. And of course, I've finished it all and I'm up to date. But I just think if you're a woman over 60, this is or over 50, this is a great show because it brings up so much about ageism. And I know that's Hollywood, but just in general, like her aches and pains, her wanting to have plastic surgery to stay youthful and all the things she wants to do, things that people want her to do because of her age, like commercials, and she won't do it because I don't have a leaky bladder. Like she's saying, this is embarrassing. So it's funny, but it's age appropriate for what's going on with people over 50.
It's such a great show, and all ages will enjoy this show because it does have a young cast as well.
A really amazing young cast.
And we're going to talk about that again in our next episode, but a little more on that. But when she won the Emmy, the creator of the show, when they won the Emmy for Best Comedy at the Emmys, the creator of the show said that 20% of the population is 60 plus, but only 3% of characters on TV are 60 plus. So I thought that was a really interesting statistic, knowing that we are just not represented. Even 50 plus, there's usually 1 or 2 ways you can show a woman 50 plus as a cougar or just as the mom in the vaccine. So it's nice when the feature.
And she was the host of Saturday Night Live for the opening 50th season.
Yes,
so
that stars. We should have said that. It stars Jean Smart, who you would know from way back in Designing Women. Yeah. She certainly had a million other roles since then. But I feel like that should bring us to the Golden Bachelorette. And I have to open my notes on this because I do have plenty. So buckle up, folks. Yeah. We're gonna get to that now. Hi, it's Eden. I still laugh at the day that Christine rattled off all of her menopause symptoms like Rosanna Dana from back in the day. I think we all felt a little less alone when we heard that. From bloating to bad sleep to just feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. Hormone Harmony is perfect for those horrible menopause symptoms that make us put our lives on hold. Hormone Harmony supports hormonal balance and regulation. And what most women mention in the over 17,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony is it makes you feel like yourself again. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use our code UUPodcast at checkout, happymammoth.com, and use that code UUPodcast for 15% off today. So whether it's hot flashes and night sweats, racing thoughts, low moods, poor sleep, bloating, gas, lack of desire, Hormone Harmony can help. Visit happymammoth.com and use the code UUPodcast for 15% off your first order. Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Looking to make a positive change? Sober October is the perfect time to be more mindful about your alcohol consumption. Whether you're aiming to cut back or take a complete break, October offers a great opportunity to experience the benefits like improved sleep, reduced stress, and a boost to your mental health. Join Hearts for Minds and discover a world of delicious non-alcoholic options with a free ebook, Mocktails with Meaning, featuring curated recipes from expert mixologists to help you celebrate mindfully. It's easy to incorporate non-alcoholic drinks into your social life and enjoy the same flavors and fun without the alcohol. So this October, raise a glass to your well-being. Join the movement. Support Hearts for Minds and discover the joy of mindful drinking. Check out the free ebook at heartsforminds.org and in our show notes. 2 episodes in as of the recording.
Right. You were out of town. So I watched the first episode with my daughter, which was very enlightening because she's in her early 30s. And to watch it with somebody young, and she worked in Hollywood, so you get a little bit of insider how things work on these shows.
Show your, just for those who are watching us on Patreon, show your chart.
This is my cheat sheet chart, which
she brought a whole big, like it's 2 pieces of paper taped
together because half their heads were cut off. And yes, I'm a printer. I know young people do not print anymore, but I love to print things. I am a visual person who likes to hold a piece of paper. So anyway, yes, I have a flow chart of each man because I don't know about you. The second episode, they all started to blend together.
Yeah,
I couldn't even think who was. I really had to write down everything and have like descriptions of them because they all just started to blend together.
I made my husband watch with me, and I plan to do that for the entire season. And the reason I did that is because so many people, I'm not invested in this as a will Joan find love. I'm invested in this as this is going to entertain.
Oh, yes.
Out of us.
Yes.
So
that's what I think. She's not finding love. Spoiler alert. I do not think she's going to find love. But anyway.
I agree. There are a couple of things. First of all, from my husband's perspective, we're sitting there, and the first commercial, because we're watching on Hulu, is the vaginal moisture product.
Of course it is.
And he looks at me like, okay, I see. I see. The second thing my husband said is there was one point where he looked at the guy and goes, "You got no shot, buddy." And I can't remember what the guy's line was that he used on her. Oh, I do remember. He goes, "I'm a hugger." Like they all were like, "I'm a hugger." And he's, dudes, you got no shot.
Yeah. I thought the first episode when they come out of the limo was probably one of the more cheesier things I've seen in a really long time.
Can we talk about how one of the guys, it was Pasquale, who is like playing the role of the absolute douchebag French guy, with not that those two things go hand in hand. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
No.
He's just playing up that role of being just a player. He grabs Joan's hands, lifts them up, and says, "Look at you."
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. I just thought none of them really had game. Like they just were so embarrassing. One came out and acted like he was old and then got down and did push-ups. One came in on the horse, and then when he got off the horse, it ran away and they had to go try to catch it because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
Then the guy who came in with the old car with the luggage on top, I don't know. Get out of the car, be romantic, be charming, and then go in the house.
When Kim, the naval
came in his uniform, but he's been retired for 20 years.
And then at the end, he salutes her.
Yeah.
And she salutes him, and my husband is gagging. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. Then there was a pickleball scene where they intentionally tried to say the word balls as many times as they could, I think.
And she's in a long gown, and they are whipping those balls by her head.
Yes.
Like, whose idea was that?
And they're saying things like, "How do you like the balls flying everywhere, Joan?" And she's just like, "All the balls."
Yeah. I even feel like, okay, last season with Gary,
yeah,
I didn't see this side of Joan. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Is it the shine wearing off a little?
The shine is wearing off a little. I think that there are parts of her I think are so great, like the love she had for her first husband who died. That's a true love, and you can tell that. So kudos to her for that. I just think that they picked her just because she left and people didn't get to know her that well. And I just am not overly...
I haven't seen one genuine smile from her yet.
I just feel like...
Her smile does not reach her eyes, and it barely... I'm really struggling to see the smile, and that has nothing to do with necessarily plastic surgery or Botox or anything like that.
Well, I'm sure she did a little.
Well, of course.
If I were going to be on TV, I'd be doing a little too. So nothing against her on that one.
My point, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I don't think she's genuinely feeling any kind of warmth or entertainment with these guys.
I
don't
agree.
think she's genuinely being made to
I
smile.
think she wants them all just to be her friends. That's what it seems like to me. They're all so far in the friend zone.
Okay, here's another thing.
Yeah.
How is Pasquale not someone who can do laundry?
Was that
the second episode? Isn't he
Pasquale,
the one who said,
yeah.
He said, I don't
that was
know
the
how to
second episode.
Okay, he doesn't know how to do laundry. So now he's got Greg doing his laundry.
And he thought that closet was just
his.
But it was to share with everybody. Listen, I think they're keeping him on as a character almost. And French men are supposed to be really romantic.
Yes.
And so they're going to let him go out on a date and be romantic
and
do it.
And yeah. It's just a big deal.
And his talent for that night, for the second annual talent show, was cutting hair. Yes, that's his talent because he's a hairdresser.
Sure.
But that's not something like the other guys were doing that, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. And then I just feel like the 2-hour episode, the opening one, was way too long.
Of course.
Again, I think they need to keep these short, especially when you're our age, to watch 2 hours. And I know a lot of people just tape them now. I'm happy we're to 1 hour. Taping it, fast forwarding
Although this last one
commercials.
felt really long,
It felt really
and I
long.
thought of you when they were on the Thunder Mountain Railroad in Disney, because I know, first of all, you're not a Disney adult. You're not that person that wants to go with you and Mitch don't ever just without. You'll go back, I'm sure, with your grandson.
Oh, absolutely.
But that will be
through his eyes.
And I know you're not a roller coaster.
I don't go on any rides. No rides. I'm not a ride girl, and I don't go to Disney as an adult. But that's just me. I know people that do go to Disney as adults.
It's delightful.
I feel like episode 2, they just were playing out the whole fairy tale thing. And I just think at our age, is it really going to be a fairy tale? Everybody has aches and pains now. Everyone has adult children. Everyone has grandchildren. I don't see this as being a fairy tale. I see it as let's be in reality.
A couple of comments from my husband were when they got to the prom and they were dancing, he's like, easy, someone's going to get hurt. Because it really did look like, okay, someone's going to throw out a hip. Somebody's going to get hurt here.
I just thought the prom and Taylor Dane singing. And I was saying to you, I graduated in 1980 from high school. So I would have seen more a disco themed, 70s themed, because most of these men are in their 60s. They're not in their 50s.
And Taylor Dane would have been about 88, 89. So that's later.
Right. That's later.
Which is still fine for if it was a younger group, but this was not.
This is not a younger group.
Joan is 63.
61.
61.
Yeah.
One thing I did enjoy, and you would never see this, you could correct me if I'm wrong because I don't watch The Bachelor, but I'm guessing on a Bachelorette from when they're younger, you wouldn't see a bunch of the guys fixing things going wrong, but you got one guy under the sink fixing that. They're taking care of stuff in the house. They're definitely mature. These are guys. These are dads. And when I saw that, like them fixing the sink, and doing that kind of thing, I thought.
And cooking,
I thought, okay, this is doing laundry. I'm like, this is at least a little bit different. You do want that guy that's going to be able to do his own laundry. First of all, if I was dating a guy now, second time around, and I found out he couldn't do the laundry, that would be a problem.
I totally agree. I think the whole thing just made me laugh. Each thing they did, each thing they wore.
Yes.
I don't know. The guy who wore the tuxedo without the shirt, and then he won prom king, and they did the whole prom queen and king, and she gave him the rose because his date a week before the prom blew him off 30 years ago, which I love that part because I always say on this podcast, no matter how old you are, if something traumatic happens in high school, middle school, lower school, something you just never forget. And he was that person who that was very traumatizing and he never got to go to the prom. I think she's more of I'm going to make people feel good about themselves. And that's it. I don't think she's in it to fall madly in love, leave her family, leave her job. I just don't see it. But I think she's a nice person and she wants to make friends with all of these people. And maybe one day down the road when the cameras are off, whatever. That's the vibe I'm getting.
When she walks into the room after whatever event has happened, and it's one of those opportunities for her to be in a room with all of the guys, like these group dates or what have you. It is very like a car dealership when you first pull up.
Yeah.
And all these men are just swarming her, and it's very cringy. It's very difficult to watch. And I really feel badly for any of these guys if they're taking it seriously. I'm hopeful that they're not, although I think that Kim guy is taking it very seriously.
I think they're taking it seriously. And
with the exception of Jack, who is fantastic, but we won't be seeing much of him.
No, Jack's gone.
That's what I mean. We're not going to see him much long.
I have to tell you, and my daughter and I both said this, the guy whose daughter was on The Bachelorette.
Mark.
Okay. I think he's definitely going to make it in the top 3, but then he's going to be the next Golden Bachelor. For sure. She won't end up picking him.
Right.
But he will 100% be the next Golden Bachelor.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless she does end up picking him. But I think she's going to go for someone who, so far what I'm seeing, my top picks are him and not the girl dad. Sorry.
Yeah. Whatever. What is his job?
Girl dad.
That's his whole job?
But she's picked him twice. She really does like him.
Which one is he? What's his name?
He's the tall, really tall Keith.
Okay,
and
Keith, yes,
really
with a deep
tall.
voice.
Yeah, and I love Charles.
Charles L?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love him. Let me tell you why. Not because she'll pick him. She will never pick him.
He's the one that grew up in China.
Yes.
Okay.
I love how he is with his kids on the phone.
Yes.
I love how sweet and kind he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she won't pick him, but I think he's going to get a lot of ladies after this. So it's going to be a good thing for him anyway, because he's having fun. He's not taking it too seriously. I really liked him. Some of them I feel are taking it very seriously, in my opinion. And is the Navy captain gone?
Kim?
Yeah. I don't think he is.
I don't think he's still gone, is he?
Yeah. No, he's still in.
Yeah, because I feel like he would have a major temper tantrum if he didn't get a rose.
Yeah. And Jack, I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah, because he was the comedy
He was the cannonball. Yeah, I totally agree. But let's talk about Gil.
Yes, let's talk about Gil. I thought we weren't going to be seeing him in the second
episode. And they showed him a lot.
A lot.
And I thought that was bizarre.
Yeah.
So Gil Ramirez, is that his name?
Yeah.
Gil Ramirez. It turns out he had a restraining order out but recently. This isn't something 15 years ago where he could say that was a lifetime ago, whatever. And so they never caught it until after the show had already been taped. I still say, who are your fact checkers? Who are your people how does that get passed? Especially because it was recent. And if you read about what he did, it was harassment. She says he made 25 attempts daily via phone, text, video, and he lives an hour away, showed up at places I frequent to confront me on a daily basis. That scares me.
Yeah. This is an ex-girlfriend?
Yes. Okay. That's the one that pulled the restraining order. Now, the restraining order is gone because they said lack of prosecution. I just don't think someone who had a recent restraining order should be on the Golden Bachelor. Aren't you supposed to have this behind you?
I feel as though, and listen, we know it was already recorded at this point. It got way too far. So we understand that it could be very difficult to pull all of those segments. But it just seems like there's no effort being made yet. Or maybe they're saying going forward, it's going to be interesting to see. Because other than that, he's still got a rose. Yeah, that's my point.
I thought they were going to nix him out and just say something like we had to remove him. Because they've done that before in other shows where they come out, so-and-so decided to leave. So now you have...
But I think it was already all produced and done. So what could they do? But they do need to get rid of
I think I don't know.
It's a guilty pleasure to be sure. And since we were leaning into the finding the fun when you're over 50, I like to think there are a lot of other things that are fun to do besides sitting around watching the Golden Bachelorette, like sitting around and talking about it.
I love it.
That's perfectly fun.
Yes. Watching it with your girlfriends.
Watching it with your friends,
Yeah.
chatting about it in our Ladies Only Facebook page, which is always free. If you have not yet joined us on Ladies Only on Facebook, please look for it. Just go to your search bar on Facebook and put in Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only. It'll come up. We'll approve you to get in, and you'll be in the club. There. Speaking of clubs, we also have a bonus club opportunity too, where we have bonus content and video versions of all of these episodes. So that's on Patreon, and all of this is linked in our show notes.
Yes.
Coming up, please be on the lookout. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so please be on the lookout for the video version of, it was called a Learning Lounge.
Yes.
It was an expo where you and I were MCs for several different people local in our community that do things towards supporting those with breast cancer, and we're going to make that available for everybody to watch. We'll probably do it as a fundraiser of some sort.
And also, if you have not had a mammogram, you're overdue. Make an appointment. It is life-saving. So ladies, get out there and get your mammograms.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. What can we let go and don't look back? If you have a guy on your bachelorette roster with a restraining order, you should definitely let him go.
And don't look back.
Hey there, new friend. We are so glad you found Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast for women over 50. What started as a passion project has grown into a beautiful and supportive community, and we couldn't be more grateful. Would you like to help us cover the cost of producing and growing this amazing sisterhood? When you join our Uncluttered and Unfiltered bonus club on Patreon for just $5 a month, you'll have early bird access to commercial-free video versions of our episodes, plus plenty of bonus content and some other surprises along the way. Check our show notes for a link to our Patreon and to our always free Ladies Only private Facebook group. And thank you for being here.
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for the power, performance, and reliability of a new Superstart battery. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Looking to make a positive change? Sober October is the perfect time to be more mindful about your alcohol consumption. Whether you're aiming to cut back or take a complete break, October offers a great opportunity to experience the benefits like improved sleep, reduced stress, and a boost to your mental health. Join Hearts for Minds and discover a world of delicious non-alcoholic options with a free ebook, Mocktails with Meaning, featuring curated recipes from expert mixologists to help you celebrate mindfully. It's easy to incorporate non-alcoholic drinks into your social life and enjoy the same flavors and fun without the alcohol. So this October, raise a glass to your well-being. Join the movement, support Hearts for Minds, and discover the joy of mindful drinking. Check out the free ebook at heartsforminds.org and in our show notes.